Welcome to channel you make your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrate to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now today's video is a little bit of recap. Obviously last week we had a big news in regards to the migration cap to be increased up to 195,000, which was the biggest news last week. So a lot of people had missed out a little bit of the small stuff. So this video we're gonna recap of for the advantage that the government of Australia is actually giving out to the international students, especially if you're planning to come to Australia to study. There's actually extensive work visa that's going to given out and planned by the government of Australia. Now, you may ask, well, what does this going to do, and what advantage will actually improve for migration purpose? Now, first of all, the government of Australia has actually faced what the world is actually facing with the inflations. So instead of the skill shortage, meaning that there's a lot of demand of services and goods, people are still spending, and if that continue to happen with the skill shortage, then obviously the Reserve Bank of Australia is looking to increase the interest rate and to stop the inflation. Now, that's one way to go, but it's not the best option to be taken, because if the government does that, that's gonna impact the economy badly, just as you can see what happened in Europe. So the government of Australia, instead of trying to raise the interest rate to stop the inflation, the other way to actually get things sorted out is to get migrants, perhaps international students, because once you arrive in Australia with a student visa, you are eligible to work in order to actually fill those skill shortages. And that is exactly why this policy has been provided, to give an advantage for international student graduates and also attract the new international student to Australia. So let's have a look at the announcements anyway. So this Minister's Media Centre, coming from the Minister of Education portfolio. Now, the whole portfolio actually include the Minister of Home Affairs, and together with the Minister of the Education, the Honourable Jason Clare and the Honourable Claire O'Neill. So as you can see, this news media actually came out on the 2nd September 2022, which was last Friday. Now this news was actually buried because the biggest news back last Friday, as you know, is the increase of the migration cap. So let's review on this one. This is actually very important because it will be really attractive for you, perhaps if you wanted to come to Australia and study, especially with the post-study work rights. Now, that only given to anyone who completed bachelor or above. So let's have a read on this media. So the Australian government will increase the duration of post-study work rights of the international student to strengthen the pipeline of skilled labour. Post-study work right for selected degree in area verified skill shortage will be increased from, here we go, it's huge. This is actually huge. Now, bear in mind, a lot of people has left the comment over the weekend saying that, well, but this is not giving us a permanent residency. But if they can increase the work rights and the post-study work visa, that means your migration possibility and ratio has dramatically increased as well. As you can see, the more work that you accrue, the more points that you actually gain within the skills select or EOI system. And the more points that you have, the more chances that you will be invited. So that's the whole key here, rather than giving the visa straight away, but to actually the government provide an incentive to help you out, and you also help the government out with the skill shortage. I think it's a win-win policy. I'm pretty welcome on this one. So okay, 2 year to 4 year. Now that's double. That is double. That is huge. I mean, if you work for 1 year, you get that 5 points, and you accrue up to 3 years, you get an additional 5 points. That's a 10 points for the work experiences EOI points, which is very vital for the select bachelor degree. As you can see, the key word here is select bachelor. So it's not any bachelor degree. As you can see, it's so select. Now I think it's all focused on the stamp, the STEM degrees or majors, but we will have more information on that one coming out later. Now 3 year increase from 3 year to 5 years for master degree, 4 year to 6 year for PhDs. That is huge. I mean, 6 years. Can you imagine? I mean, that is very, very long time. A working group will be established to advise Minister of Home Affairs and Education on development of this and other relevant issues. So, whether or not the trade, the certificates will be disadvantaged on this one, well, it will be. However, for the tradesmen graduates, they have already increased from 18 months to 2 years. But if we compare to that 4, 5, 6 years, it's really nothing, isn't it? Okay, and that hasn't really included the regional study one, because regional study you can get a second 485 visa. So that is a huge improvement giving out to the international graduates. And plus, what we have expected and predicted with the increase of annual intake annually, so next year will be much higher. I believe will be more than 200,000 for the permanent intake, as that was the key what should I say, a goal, an aim that the Labour government had promised to do. So it's going to be a very promising years to come. Member working group will include representatives of the Council of International Education, National Tertiary Education Union, University Australians, and the Department of Home Affairs and Education. The group will report minister by the October. So looks like this implementation of this policy shall come. I think it will be rather coming out from November. So if you graduate, if it come out on the 1st of November, just for the sake of this argument, it's very likely. And you graduated by the end of this year, 2022, and you study and graduate from a selected bachelor degree or master degree, then you probably will get that benefits and advantage of that 485 visa. International education will benefit from 36.1 million. Government will invest in the visa processing to support 500 surge staff. So that was being announced by the Minister of Immigration, Andrew Giles. And Minister O'Neill also announced that today work hours international student will be capped again in June next year, follow a feedback of stakeholders. What does that mean? Now that means from June next year, 2023, the working hours for the international student now, because of the pandemic, it's unlimited. So from June next year, it will cut down back to 40 hours per fortnight, so 20 hours per week. The number of hours subject to consultation will view to striking the right balance between the work and study. So I believe we'll go back to 20 hours per week. I think that's fair, because that's part-time standards, and obviously the government would like the student to focus full-time studying, obviously, because if you hold a student visa, obviously you should focus full-time on your studies or part-time on your work. Quotes attribute Minister of Education Jason Clare. At the moment, only 16% of internationals stay on after their study ends. Only 16%, but I think that's because the pandemic, because back in March 2020, the then Prime Minister Scott Morrison basically will ask everybody to leave Australia. Remember that? This will mean that they can stay longer and use the skill and gain Australia, and it will help the chronic skill shortage we have right now. So that's whether or not this has been a debate that this will not really come in effect to actually help the skill shortage in Australia. So that is why I believe once we hit that date, 20th of October 2022, as the government is in urgency to get that skill shortage fixed, I think it will come straight away on the 1st of November, and this policy will be implemented. So the international graduate students by the end of this year will actually benefit on this one if you are in the selected bachelor, master, or PhD. And this attribute from Claire O'Neill is international education is important. That Australian industry has been heavily impacted by pandemic. Now this is a true thing. Remember back last year there was a global university in Australia even selling IDPs shares just because the pandemic impact causing a lot of negative financially to the university as well. And the outcome of the Job Skills Summit a greatest support on international education. So again, international education is the key here. As you know, international education sector is actually the fourth largest export income of Australia. Did you know that? Now, obviously, if they want to attract all these international students back, and the other thing is that so they're basically throwing one stone to hit two birds. Get the economy back for the international education sector, and also helping out the skill shortage that's actually happening at the moment in Australia. Now, there has been a debate saying that look, this is going to be a midterm solution. How do you fix the short-term thing? Well, look, I believe there will be a lot more policy coming out very soon before November to actually fix those short term. This is only one of it, and we are at the beginning of this whole golden age of Australian immigration. Anyway, should you have more question or query, more than welcome to leave comment right down below, and I see you next video. Goodbye.